Khadija bin Khuwaylid was the first wife of the Prophet, peace be upon him, and the first to believe in his message. She was born in a famous and well-respected household, a noble woman in Quraysh referred to as Al-Tahira, meaning the pure one. She was a wealthy businesswoman, clever and independent. In many ways, the world and Islam would not have been what it is had it not been for her exceptional influence. Before marrying the Prophet, peace be upon him, Khadija had two husbands, Hind Abi Hala al-Tamimi and Atiq al-Mukhzumi, of which she bore 3 children in total. Both marriages ended with the death of her husband. Their deaths left Khadija with a large inheritance as well as a prolific business to manage. It was uncommon for women to participate in trade, as Quraysh considered it a noble and demanding job, but that did not stop her. She hired men and sent them with her caravans, as she did not like traveling herself. Of course, the men Khadija hired only after a precise selection process, ensuring they were trustworthy and hardworking. During one of the processes, news of Muhammad's, peace be upon him, honesty and dedication reached her, and soon after she hired him with a caravan going to Al-Sham. Her offer to Muhammad was so generous that his uncle Abi Talib allowed him to travel despite his worry about the Jews. Their first caravan was a financial success that indeed proved the qualities of Muhammad, peace be upon him, but it also brought a peculiar incident. While eagerly awaiting the caravan to return, Khadija waited in al-Qura. She saw the band approaching from a distance. The strange sight was a small cloud that seemed to shadow the Prophet, protecting him from the sun. When he sat under a tree to rest, the branches leaned over him, offering their shade. A sheikh nearby called for Khadija. He asked about Muhammad, explaining, "This man is going to be this empire's prophet. Only God's messengers have sat under that tree." After this incident, the Prophet arrived at Khadija's house to show her their prophet. She was not only impressed by his mind, but his refinement and consideration also left an impression on her. She fell in love with his honesty and humility right then. Khadija told her secret to a close friend, Nafisa bint Munayya. Although she loved Muhammad, she worried that their age difference would make their union unlikely. After all, by then, Khadija had reached her 40s, while Muhammad was merely 25. But Nafisa asked permission to take matters into her own hands. She went to Muhammad, and although he had fallen in love with Khadija, he was worried about providing for her as a husband should. But Nafisa assured him that Khadija did not need a provider. After all, she was one of the wealthiest in Quraysh. Soon after their conversation, Muhammad went to his uncles Abi Talib and Hamza ibn Abdul Muttalib to formally ask her uncle Amr bin Asad for her hand in marriage. Their marriage lasted 15 joyful years before their revelations. Khadija supported her husband unconditionally and sought his pleasure above all else, while Muhammad, peace be upon him, was the example of a kind, loving husband. Khadija made her home a heaven for Prophet, peace be upon him, and mothered 6 of his children. Their matrimony was exemplary in Islam, a model for those seeking love and a good relationship.